Alright, now it is time for my 2023 Nintendo 64 collection, or library, if you will. I'm going to start with my cart-only games that I have. That's just the cart of. We have A Bug's Life 64. This game's terrible. It's kind of like a 3D platformer type of game. Initially I didn't think it was going to be so bad, but like trying to play through the game, you see how annoying it gets. I did finish it, but man, yeah, definitely not a good game. Not the worst 3D platformer in the world, but my goodness, it's a tough playthrough. We have F-Zero X. This is obviously a really, really good game. Probably my second favorite F-Zero game, just behind GX. I really wish they would bring this series back, but Nintendo doesn't seem to care about some of their good franchises sometimes. This is an awesome game. I did stream this one recently, and yeah, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. Controls beautifully still to this day. Next we have GoldenEye 007. Of course, if you have an N64, you probably have this game. Playing it now, I gotta say, I can't stand the campaign. I've been trying to play through it, and it's annoying as hell. Natalia is probably the worst video game character of all time. Trying to escort her everywhere, and she literally runs in front of you and gets herself killed and gets you in turn failing the mission. So I can't stand it. I'm sure the multiplayer is still fun. I remember playing the multiplayer back in the day. I didn't play the campaign back in the day. My brother did. I'm sure maybe back then it was like alright, but playing it now, campaign sucks. Absolutely sucks. But I'm sure that, like I said, I'm sure the multiplayer is still good. I still have fond memories of that. Next we have Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. Legendary indeed. This is I mean, all kidding aside, I did enjoy my playthrough of this game quite a bit. It is hard because it's so janky. There's a lot of like bullshit things you have to do to try and get through this game. So it's going to frustrate the hell out of you if you try to play through it, but I did manage to beat it. Some of the things you have to do in order to progress is ridiculous. But it's kind of like a Zelda Ocarina of Time like ripoff kind of game. It like really is. It's got such a charm to it. I love it. It's so janky. It's got the perfect amount of jank. I will forever stand by this game. Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. Kevin Sorbo, hit me up. Alright, next we have Hybrid Heaven. This is an interesting game. This is one I actually owned growing up, but I ended up getting rid of. I don't even remember how I got rid of it. I was so young. Maybe we sold it, or I lost it in one of the moves or something that we did. I did rebuy it, just the card of it, from Konami. This is like a mix between a adventure game, an RPG, and a survival horror all mixed in one. It's a very unique game, but I remember being super hard. I didn't really know what to do in the game. I probably don't even know what to do in it now. I haven't tried to play through it in a long time, so when I stream it, we'll see how far we can get. I remember being pretty interesting. Hybrid Heaven. And next we have Major League Baseball featuring Ken Griffey Jr. This is a okay baseball game, I guess. It's pretty freaking hard if you ask me, though. Computer is really, really good. But I never got to play one of these Ken Griffey games. I always wanted to growing up. I don't know why. Ken Griffey was one of my favorite players. There was one on the Super Nintendo. I think it was like Ken Griffey Jr. Slugfest or something. I don't remember what it was called, but I always wanted that one. But I figured I found this one for a couple bucks and I tried out. It's not bad for a baseball game. It's a good thing about these old sports games is they're so cheap. Like this one, NHL Breakaway 98. Bought this one I think for $1 or $2 from a pawn shop. Wasn't expecting much, and it's actually really fun. It looks horrible. It's janky as hell. And the controls are weird, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually a pretty fun hockey game. Even though if you just like looked at somebody playing it for like 5 minutes, you'd think it's, absolutely terrible, but I actually kind of like this game. It's not that bad. It's just kind of fun, like goofy. I love hockey games. I do love sports games, so I figured I'd try it out. It's not bad. So you guys can see I pretty much like all types of games. Next we have the very first Nightmare Creatures. I'm excited to have this one now. I bought this one this year. The second Nightmare Creatures, I have it on Dreamcast, and it's one of my favorite horror games ever. This one I actually rented back in the day, but never owned it. So now that I own it, I can hopefully get a full playthrough and check out the whole game, because I never got too far in it. And yeah, really excited to play this one now after playing the second one several times. And I love that one. Here's Quest 64. People say this is a bad game. Don't listen to them. This game's fantastic. This game has like all the charm you could ever need. Little Brian and his quest. The music is great. I mean, yeah, the battle system is kind of boring. You might get sick of just like running into these battles, but I had such a fun time playing this game, honestly. I had a lot of fun. The chat had a lot of fun. They were helping me through it, and yeah, definitely a charming little RPG. There's not a lot of RPGs on the 64, but this is one that I would say I'm glad I played through and took a chance on, because you know, somebody in chat had talked about it, and I thought, you know what, I'll give it a go. I heard about it but never played it, and then I found it in my game shop for not that much. I'm glad I played that one. I like that game. Next we have Rugrats in Paris, the movie, the game. And this is another like hidden gem. I really liked this game. It was so fun. It was a charming little adventure game with like little mini games that you do. It's nothing like too crazy or hard to pull off, but there's this one mode in it where you play mini golf, and it's probably one of the most fun things you can do on the N64. Is this little like 9-hole course or something in mini golf, and it's so fun. Like, I had so much fun playing that part of the game. I was so into it. And the rest of the game is just charming too. You know, Rugrats, I used to watch this growing up too, and it just brings you back. It's a nice nostalgic game, definitely fun. Here's another Rugrats game that I haven't played yet, and that's Rugrats Scavenger Hunt. I think this one's kind of like a Mario Party type of game, like a board game type of thing, so I'll have to try that one out. That was another like pawn shop buy, I think. There's a couple of Rugrats games. Next we have Space Station Silicon Valley, a very unique game, I guess we could say. We did have this one growing up, so I have some nostalgia for it. I have not played it in a long time. I don't think we ever beat this game. This game's long, and it is very hard. But because there's like a lot of like tough obstacles and puzzles you have to overcome, and the combat can be very wonky. But it's a unique game. It's pretty cool. It's definitely one that oozes N64, if that makes sense. We have Wile Country Club, the golf classics. This is a little golf game I got for a couple bucks. Not too bad, not great, you know. It's a golf game on the N64. What do you want, you know? It's not the worst thing. It's alright for a little bit. Now we have Wave Race 64. So this game I actually haven't played that much. I know a lot of people grew up with this one. I did not. We did not own it. I think I played it either in like the stores once, in like a kiosk, or maybe at a friend's house or something. I'm sure somebody had it. I did not, so I haven't played much of this growing up. My copy here that I bought, a couple years ago, I tested this out for a few minutes, and that's about it. So I haven't really played this game. I'm actually excited to really sit down one day and actually get the full experience of Wave Race 64. I have the one on the GameCube, Blue Storm. That's the one I grew up playing, not this one. So I've heard that one's just really good. And now for a couple wrestling games. Yeah, we all know the N64, well known for its amazing wrestling games, and here's a couple right here. We got WCW Backstage Assault. Wasn't expecting much from this. A recommendation from Levi on YouTube. Found this one in a pawn shop for a couple dollars, and my goodness, this is a fun little wrestling game. It's all like backstage stuff. You're just beating each other with weapons and whatnot. It's janky fun. I had a great time with that one. I'll definitely play that again sometime. Here's one I just picked up for $2. WCW Mayhem. This is awesome. I was very surprised at how good this is. The graphics are great. The roster's good. It controls well. We're going to be playing more of this one for sure. I just checked this one out as of the recording of this video anyways. But yeah, awesome game. Very surprised at how good that one is. Here's one of the THQ ones, WCW NWO Revenge. Awesome game. I didn't grow up with any of these wrestling games that I'm talking about right now, but there is one later that I'll show you that I did play. This is along the lines of No Mercy. This is a great game. You know, you can't go wrong with that. These old wrestling games just hit hard. And then we have WWF Warzone. This one is a very weird one. Plays a lot different from the other ones, but I actually like this game. I do. It's got a bit of a charm to it. The weapons matches are a lot of fun. The roster's not very big, but not a bad wrestling game for a few bucks. Alright, that's the cart ones. Now it's time for my complete in-box N64 games. So let me get to these. Starting with my favorite N64 game and my second favorite video game of all time, and that's Banjo-Kazooie. Complete in box. This is still my copy I had as a kid. I love this game, and I still love it to this day. Banjo-Kazooie, really just a classic that everybody should play. Any gamer should play and appreciate. This was really the game that made me fall in love with 3D platformers and just gaming in general. I know this is one of the games that made me fall in love with gaming at a young age. So Banjo-Kazooie, and then its predecessor, Banjo-Tooie. This is one that I don't like as much. I'd say I'd even like this one worse than... I don't like it as much as Nuts and Bolts even, I should say. But I still really like this game. I've got to play through it again. I haven't played it in a long time. I did try a playthrough on the channel on the Rare Replay years back, but here's my actual N64 copy that I need to pop in my N64 and play. I do remember liking like the levels and stuff in this game a lot, but I think I found the tediousness of all the missions and running around here and there, talking to this character, getting this to complete like tasks was kind of annoying compared to the first game, which was a little bit more linear of how you progress through the game. But still an awesome game and worth checking out. Here's another N64 favorite. Another one I grew up with, Diddy Kong Racing. Fantastic game. Better than Mario Kart for me. Probably my favorite kart racer ever. My goodness, the colors in this game just pop. You got planes, you got boats, you got, of course, the karts. You have a great roster. Actually, the first game Banjo was ever in was this game. And great tracks, great track theming. You got an awesome adventure mode that was unlike anything we'd seen from a kart racer up to this point. So, kind of like, really, I think some kart racers are still borrowing off this game. Just a classic. Next we have another 3D platformer, and that's Donkey Kong 64. The one I grew up with. I never beat this game, actually. I haven't played this one probably in a good 15 years or something. I don't know. It's been a long time. I would love to sit down and play this on the channel and try to finish it for the first time. I remember liking this one, though, as a kid. I didn't love it as much as like Banjo-Kazooie or anything, but I was so into 3D platformers I didn't care, and I just enjoyed it for what it is. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it now as an adult, so I'll have to play that one. Next one we have, this box is in a little bit of rough shape, but that's fine. It still has the manual and stuff. And we got a decent little basketball game here in Fox Sports College Hoops 99. It's another one I grew up with. I remember playing this one a lot with my friends when we'd have sleepovers. We would play this game, have like tournaments and stuff. This is a fun college basketball game. Super janky now, but still fun. Still has a charm. Tons of colleges in this game. There's a lot of teams in there. Fake player names, but we kind of like got used to the fake player names. It would like recognize who's good and who isn't, as depending on the schools that we picked. We had some fun tournaments in this game. A lot of good nostalgia for this one. I still enjoy it to this day. The Nintendo Sports. This was one that was on the N64 only. Alright, moving on. We have an absolute classic, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, the collector's edition with the gold cart. I mean, this is a staple of anyone's N64 collection, I'm sure. This is actually my brother's copy. Growing up, he had it. I didn't play much of this game growing up, honestly, and I'm sure some people have already heard me talk about this, but I'll say it again. I did not play this game growing up. I watched my brother play. I probably tried it out once or twice. So my first playthrough of this game was a couple of years ago, and we did it on stream, and I had an absolute blast with it. And it meant a lot using my brother's copy. He didn't want his old N64 games, so he did send me what he had, and this was one of them. My brothers and I kind of shared some games back in the day, and they sent me the N64, and it still works, and that's how I'm playing my N64 to this day, still using the old one we had, because they didn't want the games, and they know that I'm a I'm a streamer and really into this, the physical media, so they just kind enough to just say, hey, you have it. Makes sense. So I have his copy, and I'm grateful to have this, and I'm, just a really, really awesome game. Definitely one of the best games you can get on the N64. I absolutely love the game. And it was kind of interesting because at this point everybody's already played through that game, so when I was playing it, it was kind of like I was one of the last ones to kind of experience it all the way through. Next we have Mario Kart 64, another classic, of course, a great kart racer. This is one I grew up with and still enjoy to this day. Can't go wrong with that one. Here's one of those other games that they sent to me, my brothers, that we had, and that is Mischief Makers. This is a very unique game, a side-scrolling puzzle kind of platformer, and with a really cool graphic style and good music. Maybe not a game a lot of people heard of growing up, but I like this game quite a bit, and I'm pretty sure my brother beat this. I never did. I played like maybe, I don't know, through a third of the game or something, so I'll have to go back to this and play it on stream someday, but really cool to have a complete with manual copy here. Mischief Makers. Here's one that I just tried very recently for the first time. I didn't even know we had this game. Apparently my brother had this growing up and he gave this one to me as well. Pokemon Puzzle League. And I gotta say, I had a lot of fun with this. We played through the little story mode or whatever it is, and went through all the levels. This was a lot of fun. I'm a fan of these kind of puzzle games because, like, I really like Bust a Move and stuff, and Tetris, and this one definitely delivered. I was surprised at how fun this actually was, and this is actually the first Pokemon game I actually sat down and really tried to play, as silly as that sounds. This is my first Pokemon playthrough. It was in Puzzle League, but I gotta say that was fun. Here is one of my personal goals that I just met. This is my most recent purchase on the N64, and the most expensive video game I've ever bought in my life because of how much it is these days, and that is Snowboard Kids, complete with manual. So pumped to have this. I did stream this already on Christmas Day. Man, I love this game. I grew up renting this game, so I never ever owned it. Always wished to own it. And now as an adult, working these jobs and everything, I've been able to save up and get some of the games I've always kind of wanted growing up, and this is one of them. And I'm just so pumped to have this one. I saved up for a complete in-box copy because I didn't just want the cart. I wanted the whole thing, and very, very pumped to have this, and excited to play more and more of this as we go along. Snowboard Kids, really good game with fantastic music, just so fun. Next we have another one of my brother's games that he gave to me, and that is Star Fox 64. It does have the Rumble Pack as well. We got the manual in there. And again, this is a game I didn't personally play growing up, so I have it now. I did play through it a couple times on the channel, and I gotta say it's fantastic. I can see why my brother was sitting there playing this game for hours all the time. When I was, younger me was watching him play this in Ocarina of Time and stuff. And man, this game is so good. It controls so well, unbelievably well for an N64 game. Just a must play for anybody on the N64. Here's another one I grew up with, and that is Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, pod racer game. This is a fun Star Wars game. Probably one of the first Star Wars games I ever played. I did have a couple on the Super Nintendo that I played. This one's awesome. Pretty hard game, but still holds up to this day. It's a lot of fun. Really captures the essence of pod racing, I think, really well. So, fantastic game. And here's another, one that kind of goes without saying, at Super Mario 64. This is still my copy from when I was a kid. It still works great, I think. I haven't tested it in a while, but it should be good. I keep it clean, because I keep them in the box. I still even have the little plastic baggies that the games came in for a lot of them, back then. I'm glad younger me was smart enough to keep some of this stuff, because I did throw some Super Nintendo boxes away when I was younger, and I did trade in some games I wish I didn't, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how younger me, treated his games, and kept a lot of his games and didn't trade everything in. So if there's one thing I can go back in time and say to my younger self, it's good job, keep doing what you're doing. Because now that I'm streaming and everything's so expensive these days to get retro games, I'm very grateful to have kept a lot of stuff from when I was younger, and to have something like this still complete in box is pretty special for me. Great game. I got to go back to this. Haven't played this in a long time. I really need to stream this one because this one will ooze nostalgia. Next we have another fun game, World Cup 98. I love these old World Cup soccer games. I remember playing this one a lot with one of my friends on sleepovers. We had a blast. We would do like a whole World Cup in one night and try to like win a World Cup with like the US or some other country or something. And it would just be so fun. Just a really fun game. I don't know how it holds up now because I haven't played it in a long time. Old EA Sports games, not sure. Can't be any worse than current EA Sports games, that's for sure. And last but definitely not least, another one of the dream buys that I bought this past year. Another game that I dreamed of owning, and now I have. That's WWF No Mercy, my favorite wrestling game of all time. This one I didn't own, I didn't rent, but my friend had it, so I would go to his house and play this game. We would play this game all night. We had so much fun, hours and hours of fun in this game, and I got a complete copy. The box is pretty banged up, but again, I don't really care. I'm going to be using it anyways, as long as it still sits on the shelf well enough. I'm okay with that, like whatever. I save myself some money rather than getting like a really well conditioned one. It has the manual, so it's like, that's all I need. The game works fine, and I'm not a stickler for condition on things. It's nice to have things in a decent condition, but if I can save a few bucks to get something a little worse condition, I will. As long as it works, I'm okay with it. Because they said I'm gonna be pulling this off the shelf, I'm gonna be holding it. I'm gonna be looking at the manual. I'm gonna be using this stuff. This isn't stuff that just sits on my shelf and just there to look pretty. I'm not that kind of person with the collecting. I'm there to use it and enjoy the games because I'm so passionate about it, and I enjoy sharing this with everybody. So this is, like I said, this is the best wrestling game of all time. Still holds up phenomenally well. Just packed with the content and just really, really fun gameplay. An insanely good roster. This is not only my favorite wrestling game. This is one of my favorite N64 games, I think. Like overall, this is a heck of a good game. But that is it for my N64 collection, guys. Quite a bit of stuff, I guess, so far. And as always, I'm like continuing to look out for any games anywhere, for any system that I might want to get, and saving up for some of the bigger dogs like this game. This game was also pretty pricey, but nowhere near as much as Snowboard Kids. So this one was pretty affordable compared to that one. And I'll be looking for more complete in box N64 probably this year, so maybe next year the updated video will be a little bit bigger. But thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody's support and being here on the channel. I'd be interested to hear games that you guys all grew up playing, or games that you want to check out or even owned, or if any played any of these games. Don't be afraid to leave comments in there. I'm always happy to read and respond. I appreciate it. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, 0 is the number.